KC Race Talk fans, man, it's great to have you back. Um, we're uh, we're getting so busy with guests that I'm having to do this twice a week now. So pretty excited, man. We got next week. I've got John Snyder, a driver of the Pure Stock, going to be in the house. Along with then on Thursday night next week, I have Jerry Davis from Nevada Speedway that'll be in the house. So I'm excited to have that. But I'm going to tell you tonight, it's my honor because this guy is a true wheelman, and he comes from a generation of wheelmen. I was reading over some of the stats, and my guest tonight, his granddad was the runner up at the very first Chili Bowl, which is pretty doggone cool. So without further ado, let's break out the stats for my soon to guest that I'll introduce here in just a second, as I'm just lost my sheet. Sorry about that. 3-time Power I 410 Honest Abe's champ, 11 career Power I wins. Former ASCS Warrior Region champ in the 360 sprints in 2020. Former Tulsa Shootout Golden Driller winner, which is still pretty cool. In 2017 in the A class. In 2017, the National 310 360 Sprint Rookie of the Year. In 2021, the Knoxville Raceway 410 Rookie of the Year. In 2021, the Nashville Nationals Rookie of the Year. 3-time Missouri State Fair champion in 21, 23, and 24, and going back again this year. 26 feature wins since 2020. And again, like I said, third generation racer. His dad, Steve, still runs a USAC Silver Crown car. And then I talked about his grandfather being the runner up at the very first Chili Bowl. He's also a Hall of Famer. So I have in the house tonight, AG3 Austin Jennington, man, it's awesome to have you. I really appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule because I know you're getting ready for 36 on Friday night and then Lucas Oil on Saturday night with the Road to the Hocket. So I know how busy you are, and I really appreciate you taking some time, man.
Yeah, man. Obviously, I appreciate you having me on and excited to get to talk a little bit and kind of, preview the weekend here, what's coming up for us with the Power I 410 stuff. And yeah, like you said, we've done a good job and we've had good results. And my team, we're always looking to build on more. And we're looking to have more wins coming up this season, hopefully.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt. I mean, great talent in the house, but like I said earlier, just starting off, you're third generation racer. You are surrounded by winners. And what's it like carrying on that name in the sprint car world?
Yeah, the best way to put it is my first name being Ayrton, like after Ayrton Senna, and then my last name Jennington. I kind of don't really have much of a choice but to do something cool in racing. So, it's awesome. My grandpa, he was legendary. Obviously, as you mentioned, he ran second the first ever Chili Bowl. He also won the first ever midget race in the Expo, was the prelim. And then my grandpa, he's won hundreds of races all over the country and, from California to New Zealand, Australia, and all across. And then my dad, he's got a storied racing career himself. And, he's still adding to the list. So it's pretty cool to carry on the legacy. Obviously, I wish my grandpa was still around, but, sadly he passed away in '06. But I think me and my dad have done a good job carrying that on. And, I'm really proud of my dad for continuing to race still. It's hard for a guy to retire and then come back out of retirement, especially almost 20 years later. So it's awesome. The legacy I have, I'm honored to carry it. It's something that's really special to me. And yeah, I'm just, super proud to carry it. It's not really a weight on my shoulders as some people may think or whatever, but it's really cool because I get to meet a lot of fans from all over the country who may have watched my grandpa. I mean, I have stories from one time I was out in Port Royal in Pennsylvania racing. And I had a fan from out there that was, couldn't wait to tell me about, oh man, I used to watch your grandpa race back in the day. And I've had people
That's
from,
cool.
every track we've gone to. I've been in places where I was actually in Australia this off season racing, and I had a person from Australia tell me he watched my grandpa race. And I was like, that's so crazy to think I'm across the world and I got a guy coming up to me. And the guy said, I only came to the races tonight because I saw you were racing and I wanted to tell you this story about your grandpa. So stuff like that's just awesome. And then just the connections that I get from my grandpa and my dad and the people they've known, the people they've grown up with, and the things they've achieved. It's just it's a huge head start for me in a way too. It just allows me to kind of step into a good role as a driver and as a respected person. So yeah, I love it, and I'm very appreciative of my family, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Well, it has to be an honor because I have kind of I say that not near the legacy you have, but I have people that talk about my grandfather. He was a car owner, but just the respect they had for him. So I totally understand where you're coming from there. The 2025 season, you clip off a couple wins, you run with the honest Abe, and all of a sudden you pick up your third championship. How is it going into 26 now, knowing that I'm the defending champion and you've got some real heavy hitters that have joined this year, Blake Hahn being one of them, ASCS champion. How much pressure or let me rephrase that, not pressure, but how much detail are you making sure every nut and bolt's checked, making sure everything's perfect so that you have the best opportunity to have the best finishes?
Yeah, obviously, with some really good guys this year, we got guys all across the board that are just amazing race car drivers joining. So the way to look at it is like with the way the power ideal is, there's so many good guys. The points are hard to come by every night. So for us, we got to make the most of every night we race. And so far, we only had one race, but we did not make the most of it. And we've kind of been struggling really to start the year. Something I didn't think at the end of last year I'd be saying. I thought we were going to come out of the gate swinging and be right back where we ended last season. But we've just kind of been on the struggle bus to start the season, which is not, great for a points defense champion, type deal. But every time I've won the points, I've been from behind until realistically August. So it's one of them deals. I've been behind. I think last year when we beat Joe B, we were behind until September. The year before that, we were behind Blake until early August. And same thing. The year before that, we were back behind until August again. So I need to start my years better. That's for sure. I'm making it a little bit harder on myself. I eliminate having any bad runs when I run bad at the first night, but that's just one thing where, right. And my landscape's a little different this season. I used to have another guy with me, and he's retired. He's seasoned his career. He's been around a long time. And, Steve, that's his name. He was awesome for us. And, he needs to spend time with his family, his grandkids and stuff like that. So we're losing him this season. So right now it's just me and Ace, my crew guy. We're out there, just two of us, just tackling this deal together. And, our goal is to, win this points deal, but it's also to race as much as we can and win as much as we can. So me and him got a lot on our plates, but we both want it. We're both working hard. And I think, as long as we just keep dotting our T's or crossing our T's and dotting our I's, we should be good. We just got to make the most of every night. It's one of them deals where if you got a third place car, you need to make it run second. If you got a sixth place car, you need to run fourth. You're going to have to make up a difference. And we just can't have any mistakes. There's just too many good guys to have mistakes this season. And so we're just going to focus on trying not to make any mistakes and push forward and support our sponsors the best we can, show them all, try and get them in victory lane as much as we can, and show people that me and Ace, we can do it on our own.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's always a big change I lost a crew chief for a while. He eventually came back, and I totally get just the ebb and flow of a night of racing. And frankly, that guy that, at least for me, was that guy that kept me motivated and kept me positive. And so that really, I get that. I totally understand it. I know you run and you're in the Elite 17, but what other shows are you running just as a guest? Hey, I'm going to pop in here. I'm going to pop in there. What's 2026 look like? Or are you strictly sticking to the power ideal? I'm going to run for this fourth championship because I believe that's going to open some doors for me. Or how's that working? I mean, we all know High Limit, is around, the Word Outlaws are around. Are you picking up some of those shows too? Or are you strictly staying power I?
Yeah, so we'll run every power I race, obviously. That's our main focus. But to tell you how much we want to race, so coming up in the 1st of June, I think we're gonna be gone for like 9 nights. We're gonna travel through Wisconsin. We're gonna go. I think we're like 2 nights in Iowa, 2 nights in Wisconsin, one in Minnesota, one in North Dakota, one in South Dakota. So we're racing. We're gonna race everywhere we can race, as much as we can race, whether it's 410, 360, whatever makes the most sense. So we're just going to go out there and attack the season, run as much high limit, run as much outlaws, Knoxville, Huset's, whatever it may be. We're just going to go out there and focus on running as many races as we can, you know? So I think we started the year, we had like 82 races on our schedule.
Wow.
And for two guys, that's a lot of racing.
That's a
So we're gonna
lot of
have to
racing.
really want it to get it done. But yeah, you know, our main thing is gonna be the power ideal. You know, if we start feeling like we're behind or we need a weekend to kind of regroup, we may take a weekend or something like that off to focus on just the power ride thing if we get to that point. But you know, right now we just need to focus on racing and getting better. So yeah, we'll run as much high limit, much outlaw stuff as we can. We'll hit a couple, you know, far races away. We'll go to Eldora for the Four Crown, obviously
Right.
the Knoxville Nationals.
Sure.
And then, you know, we'll do a little bit of traveling here and there with the Outlaws and high limit as much as we can too. So, you know, especially racing at that level with those guys there, it's only going to make you better. You know, when you got to go race their pace, it really makes you pick up your own pace when you're not racing with them. So, yeah, that's going to be our goal, just to race as much as we can all over the country and see if we can get it done again.
Yeah. Hey, well, what do you think? You've got at least one track that I know of that you guys have not been at. You're going to be at Electric City with the Power Eye down at Butler, Missouri, which I've been down there. I've announced down there. It's the configuration has changed this year. They've done a lot of work to that facility and widened out the racetrack. What's it going to be like going to those new places without a notebook going, hey, I gotta get in this championship deal and we've got to make this work. How do you think you and Ace are gonna take on those challenges?
Yeah, so that's one of those deals too where it also benefits us traveling as much as we do and racing
Hmm.
as much as we do. Um, you know, I think we've raced 11 times this year and I've only seen the same track once. So, you know, I think when we started our schedule, we had like 38 different tracks on it. So we raced so many different places. You kind of just get to the mindset of where every track's the same and you just kind of compare them a little bit. Like this one may have same dirt to here, or the shape's kind of like this, or even then, sometimes you don't need none of that. If you got a good baseline setup, we can just pretty much plug that baseline in. And if you're comfortable with your baseline, you know, you just leave it up to the driver at that point and you just got to go out there and attack it. You know, you can kind of get yourself overthinking about new tracks sometimes when you're there, but usually the best thing to do is just stick to your baseline and just try to attack it the best you can. But like you said, like Electric City, that's going to be a new one for me. I've never been there. Other than that, I think I've been to almost every other track on the schedule. So yeah, I'm excited to go there. I think it's kind of like a fair game deal, which to me sometimes the fair games deals benefit the guys who travel the most. So yeah, if we can get going early that night, like I feel good about our chances to run good there for sure too.
Well, I think you'll love the place. It's a really neat facility. The other thing that I'd like to talk about is three-time Missouri State Fair. You're going back again this year. What makes you so good at Missouri State Fair? If I'm looking at it, it's probably all your Knoxville experience because it's a lot like Knoxville in that it's real flat, very racy, but very flat. Do you contribute some of that experience to being so dominant at the Missouri State Fair?
Yeah, I definitely think it helps. I've just always naturally kind of been a better driver when it comes to tracks like that. Like, in my opinion, Knoxville is a way easier racetrack than Sedalia. Like, Sedalia is one of probably the sketchier tracks I would say in the country. Like,
Okay.
Sedalia and Terre Haute are both very sketchy tracks, and those are two tracks I absolutely love. Just the way Sedalia races, it's so different than most places, and it really like configures the guys who are willing to run the car hard. And, you know, that's just been kind of my MO there, just running the crap out of the car. And realistically, I felt like we should have won it last year too. I had a horrible stomach bug issue. Like I was honestly like we were we were getting ready to take me to the hospital the day of the race. Like it was bad. Like I wasn't even gonna make it to the race. Like I just you know, I had to show up for the points, but if it wasn't a points race, I wouldn't have went. Like that's how
Mhm.
bad I felt. And we had some stuff like I started third in the heat, took the lead, and then we had a yellow, and it kind of hurt our chances there, having to not start off. You know, I would have put us in the front row, but then we just, you know, the races didn't go our way last year. I think honestly we would have won it again. You know, and that's just kind of one of them deals. Like, oh man, it sucks, but it's part of it. But I don't know. I just love Sedalia. My dad's always been good at Sedalia. My grandpa was good at Sedalia. So just naturally one of those tracks I tend to do good at. It's just kind of in my wheelhouse. It's a track where if you get your car somewhat close, you can make up a lot of difference just driving it. And that's kind of tend to excel as a driver is tracks like that. Maybe that tells me I need to be a little bit better crew chief and get my car a little better. But no, we tend to do good on tracks like that, like Sedalia, Granite City, Terre Haute, Lake Ozark. Those are all tracks you can get your car pretty close. And then if you know how to race the facility, then you can do a lot of different stuff with the track.
Right. Did you ever run Tri City on the half mile before the reconfiguration?
No, I never got to do that, but I do have a fun fact about that. So me, my dad, and my grandpa have all won at Granite City,
Really?
but we all three have won there on different configurations.
Very cool.
So
I
that's a fun fact. So
It is.
that's pretty cool.
That's cool because I've raced on the half mile there in a modified and also on the quarter mile because I'm originally from the St. Louis area. So, but yeah, no, that's very cool.
Yeah.
That's a neat statistic. But three different configurations. How cool is that? And Gundakers do a great job over there, man.
Yeah.
That's a top notch facility.
Yeah, they do
They
awesome. And that was actually the place in my first ever 410 win. And
Wow.
it was also the first track we all three had won at the same time. So that track's had a lot of history with me. Every time
Right.
I've been there, I've always been pretty solid. I think we've won there 3 times, and every other time, maybe four. Yeah, I've won there 4 times actually. So it's always kind of been in my wheelhouse. That's just a track I really like and enjoy. And then obviously Tammy and Kevin, they do an amazing job.
Yeah, they
And
do.
yeah, I love going there. We got 3 dates there this year, and I'm super excited for all those.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's very, very cool. And well, hey, we're going to take a quick break. Get back with Ayrton.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. Supply.com, serving the racing community for over 30 years.
All right, back from the break, man. Ayrton, one of the things that in doing my research that I seen, I started following you. And I really, really liked, and I've told you this, your TMM program because I'm a modified guy. When I'm a race fan, I'm a late model guy. Even though I like sprint car racing, especially when it's good sprint car racing, 2, 3 wide, I enjoy that. When it's single file, I don't care what it is. It could be 4 cylinders. I'm not a fan. I want to see racing. But I've learned a ton from your TMM video. Tell us what brought that up. What started you thinking, my fans might like to see this?
Yeah, it's one of them deals like a lot of people now are trying to do the social media stuff. And it's just a great way to connect with fans. It's a great way to show people who I am as a person.
Sure.
And they get to hear my voice, they get to see my face and not just see my race car and my post or something like that. So it's just trying to inform people as well. A lot of people like
Mhm.
they may even other people in racing, they may do their own motor maintenance a different way. And they may be like, wow, I like the way he did that. I'm gonna start doing my stuff like
Mhm.
this. And I'm guilty of doing the same thing. I've watched other people's videos like, wow, that's a good idea. I've never done that. I'm gonna try it. And I end up liking it. So, it's great. It's a good way to connect with the fans. It's a good way to keep fans involved with myself. And then also, promoting my sponsors because my sponsors, it helps them too. If more people
Sure
get
does.
to see that, they get to see my posts, they get to see me, then, that helps my sponsors. And the one thing you want to do is give your sponsors the best ROI possible. So, for me, it's a great way to connect with fans, showcase who I am, and then maybe try to teach another racer or a kid growing up a little bit more about racing, help them out in the future.
I appreciated it just from a knowledge perspective. Now that I've changed roles and I'm in the announcer's booth, it's nice that I can talk about some of the stuff that you showed us. I had no idea the fuel pump was on the back of the motor. That was very cool. And there were things you did that I just went, wow. Now I like that. And in this world of social media, I think it's huge for you. I think that someday, hopefully, I'll get the opportunity to talk to Rico. I think his legacy, not only being a good racer, but he was one of those first guys that really broke into that social media realm, if you will, and the following that created for the sport of sprint car racing, I think is huge. I think that there was a lag there in the early 2000s, just not a lot of people interest, if you will. And I think that was one of the catalysts. Tanner Holmes has got another great one. I like to follow those because I'm always learning something. And so I applaud you for doing that, starting that. Speaking of sponsors, who do you got to think that makes all this possible? Because without them, hey, none of us got the opportunity to do what we're doing.
Yeah, I got a lot of great ones with me, and one right now I'm representing is Wet Steps. They've been with me for a long time. Sam and Kelly, they're absolutely great people. They've supported me from when I was racing micros to all the way to now and what we're doing. So they've not only been with me, but they've grown with me. They've seen me take every step. They've seen me, trip over every hurdle, but they've always been there to help me out and pick me up and, been by my side. So Sam and Kelly have been awesome. And then Chad and everyone at Hibden Gravel, they've been a long supporter of mine as well. It's awesome to have them. They're local to us, and it's kind of, just a local company to us at the lake. And yeah, I just we've always been, they've known of us and we've known of them. We've always been kind of family friends, and we've done business together. And I was like, hey, like, you guys want to do something with this racing deal? And they loved it. And now they're a big part of our team. And then I brought on Birdie Brand Hot Sauce this year out of Texas. That's been a great partnership. They are absolutely second to none, great people. Love having them on board. They also make great hot sauce. So if you're a hot sauce person, check them out. Tony Stewart with the Stewart House, he's been another longtime supporter of mine. It's been, great to have him on board. He's always there to, pick me up and push me when I need it. And he's always been on my side and had my back, and I appreciate that. Scott Boner with Midland, obviously my dad, my mom, my grandma, our family business, Cooper's Garage Beers. He's out of South Dakota, or he's like one of my best texting buddies. I always joke with him. The other night we didn't qualify good, and I was texting him saying, he's like, what happened? And I sent him a text saying, driver said this, crew chief said this, driver said this. But, I was like having a minimal argument with myself in the text with him, just joking around. So, and then Kyle Stephens with Performance Plus Global Shipping. He does a great job. He gets all of our motors across the country when we need them. High Performance Lubricants, another great sponsor of mine. And then we got a lot of great product sponsors that, keep us going up and down the road as well. And then I got to thank Kenny at Rod End Supply for, coming on board this season as well, keeping us, all of our rod ends good. Got me a good looking suit that I'm ready to wear once it gets in.
Awesome. Well, Kenny's great people. Bob Douglas, great people. They sponsor KC Race Talk also, and then I also did announce for the Midwest Lightning Sprint. So I'm excited to do that. You brought up micros, and I knew that you did that because ultimately you want a driller. Where is the driller in your trophy case? Is that one of those that's right up front, or is that? I mean, because everybody makes out that is the trophy to have.
Yeah.
How's that? I mean, where does that fit in that trophy case?
Oh man, it's so tough to really place my wins just off of the fact that every win has such a different meaning to it.
Sure.
If you're going off like sheer car count, guys, the amount of people I had to beat, like definitely probably the biggest one on that aspect. It meant the most too, because like you said, my grandpa ran second the first Chili Bowl. So if you really want to think about it, that's something like maybe we felt like as a family, we should have had a long time ago. We never had it, and it may not be the Chili Bowl, but we finally got a golden driller as a family. And that's something that is very special to us, and then obviously it's hard to ignore your first ever win at Knoxville, your first ever win driving for somebody else. I would say it's in my top 5. It's not my number 1.
Right.
Oh man, I don't know. It's hard to place them, but I have a lot of good wins. I've won with some really great people, and that's always the most meaningful stuff, is winning with great people. And then, yeah, I mean, I would say the driller's in the top 5 for sure, but
that's cool.
It's just so hard to place them.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. It's just tough. I mean, winning at Sedalia too, like there's so much cool history at Sedalia, and Sedalia, that's the place my dad grew up racing won a track championship in 360 stuff, won there a lot. My grandpa's won there. And it's a place too. It's like, it's really special because they only get a race there once a year. So only
Right.
one person can win it, and so they're all so different. But yeah, I would say probably top five. I don't think it would be in the top three, but I'll probably put it at five.
Gotcha.
It can't fall out of the top five. It never can, but it's definitely in the top.
Right.
It's definitely fifth.
I got you. Well, you mentioned you're going to be headed to Eldora later this season. How? I mean, I've been there. I love the place. It's an amazing facility. The racing there is unbelievable, and I don't care what you're in. I can go there and watch a late model race, a sprint car race. Matter of fact, one of the best races I ever watched ever was a Mopar Million which was a non-wing race there. What's it like, the speeds, the competition? What's it like when you step into that? I don't want to say holy grail of racetracks, but it's one of two or three. I mean, Port City, Eldora, Knoxville, probably in the sprint car world, probably the biggest three, I'd say. Maybe, I mean, of course, the Expo Center with the Chili Bowl. But what's it like? I mean, because it's got to be. I would think it's just got to be almost a little intimidating walking in there.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. I absolutely love Eldora. I'm sure you've been to Moberly as well.
Mhm.
They're pretty close. They're pretty similar in a way. You can't get
Mhm.
too. They're not the same, but they're pretty similar. And that's one place I always thrived at was Moberly in the
Mhm.
360. So I love Moberly. So naturally, I went to Eldora. It was super comfortable. You kind of can't think about it too much, but every time I, come into that back gate into turn three, going to the infield, you're just like, wow, this place is awesome. So
It is.
I've been fortunate enough. We've actually been on the podium there at Eldora. I honestly felt like I should have won a race at Eldora, which, at this time it kind of sucks. So you look back, you're like, man, I was so close. But Eldora is awesome. I mean, whether you're like you said, like it puts on great racing, no matter
It
what
does.
class it is. And, like that's one thing cool too is we get to go there this season. When we go, it's going to be with the Four Crown. It's going to be with
Mhm.
USAC. I'm going to get a run of 410, and my dad's going to get a run the Silver Crown car the same nights on the same track. So that's going to be really special for me and my family. And I'm going to get to spot my dad that night. So that'll be kind of cool. I'm going to get done with the 410 feature. And as soon as I'm done, I got to haul butt up to the spotter tower and spot for my dad. So that'll be a fun experience. Hopefully I make it, but it's one of them deals where it's like Eldora is, like you said, it's a holy grail. I mean, we've been there. I've been there for King's Royal. I made the King's Royal my first ever time, my only time ever there. And when you're doing that four wide and you look in the stands, it's like the whole track, every seat
Mhm.
is filled all the way
Mhm.
around the place.
Yeah.
And it's a special feeling because there's also not a lot of places you get a race where the fans literally circle the racetrack. It's like a Bristol vibe for NASCAR type thing. And
Yep.
it's just
Very
it's a
much.
special feeling. And the place is so racy and such a good track. They have everything there. It is top of the line, and it's a special feeling getting to race there and get to compete there at all.
Yeah. I'm going to back up just a smidge. With your micro experience, did you race at Sweet Springs a lot?
Yeah, so I actually listened to your interview with Xavier Downey a little bit, and yeah, I grew up racing at Sweet Springs. There's been a good crop of us that have came out of there. Me, Miles Paulus,
Yep.
Chase Porter, and then
Yep.
you can name all the other guys that you named: Jack Wagner, Samuel, Xavier.
Yep.
We've had a lot of Cameron Key. I mean, we've had a
Yeah.
lot of great
Oh, yeah.
shoes that have come out of Sweet Springs. Clinton Boyles. I mean, you can keep on going.
Sure.
It was a hotbed for breeding really good race car drivers there in that, 2012 to 2018 or whatever, I don't know. I don't keep up with it much anymore, but
Right.
from that time range from when I was there, it was a fantastic group of race car drivers. I mean, we've all grown up and either, gone on to be race car drivers or crew chiefs or car owners or whatever we've all done. I feel like it's been an awesome group watching all of us grow from there. And yeah, we're all super competitive and we still compete with each other today.
Yeah. No, it's very cool. And I will tell you, at least with everybody from the Show Me State, it seems like that, especially in the sprint car world, that's kind of the diving board to jump off of, which I think is really, really neat. I'm going to actually get the opportunity to announce there later this year with the Midwest Lightning Sprints. And so I'm excited about it because I've never been there. So yeah, it's going to be a really neat feeling. Since we just brought it up, what's it like, Power Eye, you have a large group of racers from all over the country that come and run that thing. But I'm going to say 80%, 60%, 70% of your races are in Missouri. You're from the Show Me State. What's it like to have a Blake Hahn come in and go, I'm going to run for this championship? No, we're not going to. You Missouri boys don't lay down for nobody.
No, and that's that's something we take a lot of pride in. It's like when you come to our home turf to race us, just like anywhere you go to race someone on home turf, it's like you want to outdo anyone from not around here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing I take a lot of pride in. Like my home track is Lake Ozark, and when I go to Lake Ozark, my goal is every night to win. There's no running second, no running third. My goal is to go there and win. And I grew up literally 15 minutes from Lake Ozark, so every time we're there, I have one goal in mind. It doesn't matter who it is or what series is going to come there. I want to do one thing, and that's win. And that's the same thing with this championship. It's like when I first started racing 410s, we didn't have a lot of 410 racing in the Midwest. So when Power kind of came along and, developed themselves and placed their footprint, and as I've been growing with it and as it's been growing and I've been running it and, fortunate enough to win the championships, my goal is to keep doing that and keep showing people, hey, if you want to come run this deal and if I'm running it, I'm the one you got to beat. You got to prove yourself to beat me. So yeah, that's our goal. It's just to basically defend our turf and just keep showing people it's like, hey, if you want to win this, you got to go through us.
Yeah. Well, and I will say this, with dealing with Kenny and Alan Staley, and thank you, Alan, for putting me and Ayrton together. Great guys, great series, run a top-notch organization, whether it's with the War Series or with you guys with the 410 Outlaw Series, with the Honest Abe. Just a great series altogether. And it's some really, really competitive race car drivers. Xavier being one of them. He's an up-and-comer. Yourself. Do you think there'll ever be an opportunity to make that next step? I talked to Alan, had a really not great interview with Alan, and Alan said, we recognize that our series is not, it's a very tough series, very competitive series, but we're kind of a jumping board, like Mazuski stepping into the world of outlaw rookie points, even though unfortunately that ride ended. Do you have, or do you want to make that next move into that World of Outlaw high limit area if the opportunity and the right seat arrive?
Yeah, and that's one thing. We actually looked about potentially even doing that now. Honestly, we thought about maybe doing it this season, but we just didn't have the funding or the crew to do it. But
sure,
it is something, best way to put it is, you're only young once. You only get
sure.
one life to live. And if you were, say, 80 and you never did it, you would look back and say, man, I had the opportunity. Like, why didn't I do it? So I mean, one day I'm going to do it one day, no matter what, whether it's well funded or well crewed or whatever we got to do. I'm going to do it one year, no matter what. And, just to be able to say I did it. So yeah, obviously this year is like a great stepping stone. We get to race a lot. We get to race for points. We get to travel, but then we also get enough free time to go race with other series. So it's a great stepping stone. There's really, like, in my opinion, not a better stepping stone because it's kind of one of them deals when we're racing. That means high limit and the outlaws are somewhere else. But when we're not racing, that means they're in our area. So we get such a good opportunity to race with everybody. It is basically like almost running a national series without doing it. But, obviously one day we're gonna step up, we're gonna do it, whether it be my own deal or it be, me driving for somebody else. The plan is to move to that next step. So whenever that may be, I'm not sure. I want to do it sooner rather than later. I know I'm not old. I'm only 26, about to be 27, but it is one of them things. You don't want to wait too long to do it. So hopefully get to do it here soon, and hopefully, get to do it with a great race team. And if not, for somebody else, I want to do it my own deal, and I'll take a lot of pride in it.
Sure. Well, Ayrton, man, I know you're busy. I'm going to let you go here. I want to thank you so much again. I'm excited for this weekend at US 36 and then for you and the road to the Hocket there at Lucas Oil. But I know that you've talked about your sponsors, but you got to thank the fam, I'm sure, because without them and their support, you couldn't do this. Where can we find you? Where can we follow you? What's your Facebook page? Do you have a website? Anything, TikTok, whatever it might be. Where can all of my fans start following this great young man that's, I believe, going to pick up number 4?
Yeah, so all of our social media is just Ayrton Jennison Racing or AG3 Racing. So we keep it pretty basic. My website's ag3racing.com. But yeah, Ayrton Jennison Racing, where you can find all of us. And like you said, I wouldn't be here without my great family, my great sponsors, my great crew guy, and everyone else in my corner, my girlfriend, and everybody else. So yeah, I'm just really fortunate to have a great support system. I hope to, whether I make it big or not, inspire someone that maybe doing it on their own to be like, wow, he went out and just did this. And hopefully that's, what I can inspire someone else to do one day. So yeah, just gonna, like you said, just keep our heads down. We're gonna keep grinding, try and get this 4P through with and, keep going on to the next.
That's awesome. Well, man, thank you again so much for spending some time with me. Casey Race Talk fans, will be back with you guys next Monday. Again, I got John Snyder in the house, but until then, we'll see you at the racetrack.